Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening, good morning, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you for your time in joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about accommodation and sustenance and really why it can't be taken for granted. Many of us never have to worry about the roof over our heads or having enough food to function during the day, but we have to remind ourselves of people perhaps less fortunate. It's hard for them to, and sometimes even impossible to get through the day. They don't have accommodation. They don't have sufficient food, and some do depend on organisations, charities, and on the great work of individuals. The aim of today really is to raise awareness for the activity of these organisations, companies in some cases, and individuals, and to encourage support, whether that's financial in terms of your actions or word of mouth. To encourage involvement in both existing projects and maybe even starting new projects. I have to say, and I'll come clean right from the start, I've never really been involved in charities, and I'm sure that this discussion will inspire me to an extent to get involved. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to the panel. I would like to take the opportunity, though, to thank the sponsors of the Blue Room and of Saba Networking for their great support. So AvQuest, AVQuest Payment Processing, and Integram PMS and Channel Manager, again by AVQuest. Also Owl Marketplace and Pluxa Service Departments in Birmingham. Pluxa Service Departments, 40 units in 6 locations. Owl Marketplace, a platform that sits between the relocation management companies and their clients, and AVQuest, payment processing and technology for reservations and managing your availability. So without further ado, though, we'll introduce the panel, and thank you once more for joining us. So this is where the technology I let the technology down, more like. So hi, welcome everybody. Sorry, that's a shocking first view you have of me in the screen. So I'd like to introduce Chuks from Kent Housing, Jamie from Murphy's Corporate Housing Associates, and Glen from Response Accommodation. Sorry, Chuks, I have indeed chopped off both our heads there.
That's okay.
So, all right, great, thanks. So, welcome everybody. What I thought we would do is we will initially go around the panel with your name and your company name, each of you, and then we'll go around again, telling the audience a little bit more about your companies, and then go round again and we'll about your charities, and we'll go into discussions there. So should we kick off? We'll do it because Jamie, Glen, you've been on first, so I'll start with you, Jamie, if I may, just so that then it goes around more easily. We'll get a hang of things from how you introduce yourself. Jamie first, then Glen, and then Chuks, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me, Richard. I really appreciate it. I think this is a very important topic. My name is Jamie Maslar with Murphy's Corporate Housing Associates. I'm the Vice President of International Sales.
Thanks, Jamie. Over to you, Glen.
Hi there, I'm Glen Freeman from Response Accommodation. I'm also a type 1 diabetic, hence me munching an orange just before I start. Usually I use bananas. I'm always seeking bananas properties. And we are a government contract accommodation broker. And we're working in the social housing space.
Thanks, Glen. And Chuks, over to you.
Hi, my name is Chuks, and I'm the CEO of Kent Housing. We are accommodation provider for housing associations, private companies, all coming into Kent. So we're pretty much an accommodation provider in the southeast of the UK, and that's in Kent.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot. Should we go? We'll go around the panel again with a little bit more about your companies. So the companies rather than the charities, just so that people know the the person and the company behind your activities. Back over to you, Jamie.
Yes. Well, I work for Murphy's Corporate Housing Associates, which is based in the Woodlands, Texas. I actually work remotely to our home office in North Mississippi, and I handle our international housing program. Globally in all markets. We do handle national throughout the whole U.S. In all markets, as well as destination services, apartment locating. We do residential and commercial real estate as well.
Fabulous. Thanks, Jamie. Glen, over to you.
So yeah, Response Accommodation has been working. We're a relatively new company. We were 2 years old last week. Is that new anymore? I'm trying to decide. But what we do is we support organisations like the Ministry of Justice, like the National Health Service in the UK. And what we do is we provide them access to properties. We do that by connecting with landlords out in the property space. It's a variety of properties. It's properties for lease. It could be properties on a nightly rate. And we've been working in the service department with the service department industry throughout the pandemic, not only to support them to fill their rooms, but also to support these organisations who care for vulnerable people. And we really see ourselves as a profit with purpose business in making that happen.
Perfect. Thanks, Glen. And over to you regarding regarding Kent Housing. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So we're Kent Housing. We've been in business for about 8 years in Kent. We provide accommodation for large organizations like the NHS Trust, housing associations, teacher relocation companies coming into Kent. We provide accommodation for big projects like Amazon when they come into to Kent to build infrastructures where they're bringing about 100 men. We were the guys that they will call. We're the guys that provide accommodation for. Also, we've got some social contracts on our books with regards to immigration. We provide accommodation for a lot of the immigration services. And pretty much also, we do also private lettings as well. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. And the other part of us is obviously our food, our charity activities, which we provide to the community as well.
Okay, thanks, Chuks. So, and then we'll get into that. Jamie, I could see that you were going to say something there, so you go ahead, will you?
No, actually, let's.
All right, sorry. Right. So in chat, I'd like to draw the audience's attention to the very first two postings, which are links to Kent Housing and Food for Kent, and also to Jamie's fundraiser, and you'll be hearing more about that in a minute. And Glen, I will also then post the response accommodation URL, or if you let me know of another URL, just to explain really to the audience. Perhaps we're talking here about two companies, as in Chuks and Jamie, who then independent of the companies are involved in charity work, and Glen, the fundamental work of the company is one where there is accommodation for the vulnerable. So before we go into we'll come to you first, Jamie, in a little while. What I want to do is just post a few of the comments from the audience, just to say hi to them, and then we'll come back to you, and then we'll do those 5 points, and then about your charity, and then we'll keep going around like that. So where are we now? We got Sarah from Week to Week. By the way, in the audience, if you post your company name in the message as well. By all means, do. We just happen to know Sarah. Always good to see you, Sarah. Angela from now then. Angela, corporate housing.nl. Remind me, forgive me, but yeah, post it there. I should be. That's not good of me. That. Sarah, lovely panel of lovely people doing lovely things. Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Sarah. Jed from the Wirral. Jed, Merseybeat, short stage in the Wirral. Hi, Jed. Where are we? Chinello. Hi, Chinello. Hi again. And we got Veronica from Excel Property in Sheffield. And it's pretty cloudy and windy here as well. Emily Rich, hi everyone. Emily is, I believe, from the service department company, but correct me if I'm wrong there, Emily. And we got Bianca from Berlin, that's apartmentservice.de. We've got Tonya from Interim Homes. Hi, Tonya. And for now, let's have a look. Emily's saying hi. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, service accommodation company in Middlesbrough. Right. So thanks everyone so far. And any questions that you have, please post them as we go through the afternoon. Please post them in chat. So yeah, if I may go over to you, back to you, Jamie, about the charity, and then also you had some points that you would like to put.
Yeah, sure. The charity that I'm involved with is called Save the Young Girls Foundation Orphanage, based in Sierra Leone. Early last year, I got involved with the organization. Susan Marie Sesse, the founder of the foundation. I found her on LinkedIn, and she was actually trying to get traction for her charity. They had been leasing the orphanage that they're in. It's quite expensive in Sierra Leone. So she was trying to fundraise enough money to actually buy land to build a new orphanage for 30 girls that have been orphaned, either by disease like Ebola, human trafficking. But she takes these girls in and houses them, feeds them, sends them to school, make sure they're, productive members of society. And I was kind of noticing that she really wasn't gaining much traction on LinkedIn. So, I kind of had a calling, and I reached out to her and said, I'm going to try to help you. I don't know how successful it'll be or how it's going to go, but I really feel compelled to help you. So I reached out to the global mobility industry, and it was just amazing the feedback from everybody. Everyone jumped on board, and I'm talking the high senior management for a lot of major companies really stepped up and helped out. With the first fundraiser we had, we were able to raise $12,000, which afforded them to buy a parcel of land. They were able to clear out the land, buy the supplies that they needed to start the orphanage, and they were successful in plotting the land, building half of the orphanage where they kind of ran out of funds. So we had a second fundraiser where we raised $4,000. It was right before Christmas, so it's a hard time to fundraise, but that allotted her to buy more of the products that she needed. I was awarded Global Citizen by Cardis Relocation, which came with another $3,000, which I donated to them. So in total, it was over $18,000 that we've raised so far. I get videos almost daily from her. I talk to her pretty much every other day to see updates and how things are going. Right now, they have the charity built all the way up, or the orphanage built all the way up to the roof. So they're getting ready to put the roof on. But we'll probably have another fundraiser to finish off. They're looking to start occupying sometime in May, hopefully June timeframe. But I did put together five important questions on why businesses and the benefits of donating to a charity for organizations. I myself started this because I just felt compelled to do so. But there are reasons for your company to get involved with charities, Richard.
Like that.
The first being is team morale. When I started this, our company had done some fundraising locally for some homeless, but I did get them involved, and they really stepped up in a big way. They've donated $4,000 themselves within employees within Murphy's Corporate Housing Associates and the owner herself, Diane Berry. But it creates a positive mindset towards your role and your company, and it really makes it a good place to work, and it unites a team of employees. The second would be it shines a positive light on your brand. It makes your business look good to the public, and being a philanthropic business is a great way to raise profile for your organization and improve your reputation within this industry. And I don't know if people know this, but millennials spend 70% more on brands that support causes that they care about. So not only is it helping others, but it's actually helping your business in the long run. And it's a rich form of audience engagement. I've met so many people in this industry because I've helped this charity and reached out to so many people. The third would be it's helping the global community. It helps to improve the community on a local level. And this also helps to directly engage you with your current clients and your prospective clients. I've reached out to so many clients that I weren't aware that they knew who I was or what I had done, but they had seen me on these fundraisers, and it really helped me to get in with their business. The fourth would be the corporate social responsibility. Model businesses use this to assess their impact on society and how they develop their ethical business processes and practices. We all want our business to be ethical, but it really helps us form and define who we are as a company. And lastly, this helps drive a long-lasting change. And that was my goal ultimately, is to help these girls to grow and be productive members of society. I like to think that one of these girls may be a female Nelson Mandela in the future, maybe a doctor who helps cure cancer. So you really don't know the impact that what you're doing on the future of these organizations. And last would be the tax incentives. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but for the companies that donate to charities, they're eligible for a corporate gift aid, which basically the profits that they donate to these charities, or the donation amounts that they donate to these charities, can come off your profits, which means you'll end up paying less income tax in the long run. So there's a plethora of good things that come from your corporation getting involved with charities, and those are just a few.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Jamie. I'll jump into some of the comments at this point, and then we'll come on to you, Glen, and then Chuks. Sarah there is wondering whether it's rum and coke you've got on your desk there somewhere, Jamie, but she's loving the top 5 reasons anyway. So
I need a little else in my coffee.
Well, Sarah can talk. I'm sure that there's a glass of wine on her desk. So, Cara from Move for Hunger, that's amazing, Jamie. So thanks, Cara, and give me a nod if you want to come onto the stage, and we'll try and send you access there, Cara. So let me know on that one. Chinello, very commendable, Jamie. How can we get involved? So maybe if you touch base afterwards with Chinello, and I can put you in touch. Without further, so thank you for that, Jamie, and for the audience. I'll come back onto some of the other points. I've not missed your your comments and introductions earlier on. I just wanted to get to those comments first. Glen, over to you, really, regarding your organisation, how it worked. Maybe we start, because Jamie there started with as well with how he came onto it. So how you, you know, where it all started, and yeah.
Yeah, so firstly, I wanted to thank everybody for being here. And actually, I think Jamie alluded to that fact. You know, people get involved, and you see that those actual action steps you can take, and practical things you can do. And Jamie's somebody who I can recognise as having done that. And also, from what I know of Chuks, we all did the same thing, right? So, you know, how did it practically all start out? About 4 years ago, I looked at myself, and I started looking at how I can do things in the community. I set myself up as a person who, you know, gets involved in community things. I'm now a director of an estate of 649 people. With properties, which means I probably look after in excess of 1,000 people on that estate. That wasn't the business. That's just what I do as part of doing what I do. So when the pandemic came, business was tough for me personally. But the first question I asked is, how can I help? So in that, how I can help, I was looking at, okay, who needs help? The NHS needed help. We sought to build a property list. The property providers needed help. So we sought to build a list of properties, and that's ultimately at the now at the foundation of our organisation. Are there property providers that need their properties filled? Are there opportunities for us to fill them? And essentially that created that connection. So that's how Response Accommodation was built, early pandemic, 1st of April 2020. We founded the company, Profit with Purpose Business, and when we looked at how we can help people, and the list of people of who we could help evolved over time. We finally helped women who were found themselves in prison. They had experienced domestic violence in their lives. Something had caused them to end up in prison. It could be, you know, they stole papers of their partner. It could be they stole food to put food on the table. That leads quite well into the conversation we'll have later on. And they ended up in prison. And ultimately, a person who experiences domestic violence ends up in, as a result of those things, end up in prison. And when they come out of prison, they're going to be homeless. And we can help in that area. So that was our first connection with ex-offenders. And further to that, we looked at connecting with the Ministry of Justice in the UK, and we produced some great results. Right now, we housed 800 people during the pandemic. Right now, we provide the results of what we have done is 56,000 permanent nights of accommodation every single year. And those are really the types of, as I say, to go back to the practical things that you can do that can actually make you make a difference. And hopefully what we've done is, you know, built that profit with purpose sense around that to make it sustainable. So that's really an introduction of Response Accommodation and the journey. I think I did it faster than last time when we did this ourselves, and that's what the journey was.
Awesome.
That is awesome.
That's great. Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks for that. Yeah, and Chuks, over to you. I know you've got you know, fascinating story, and I'd love you to go back even as far as McDonald's.
Okay. Okay.
It's all connected, I think, really, isn't it?
It's all connected. It's all connected. I'll be very quick because I know that we've got a time schedule. Yeah. So the journey actually, and I'm not going to take people too far back. Yeah. I'll tell you a light story. The journey started. I mean, at the beginning. It started before that, but I'll tell you a story probably nearer. We started at the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, we obviously I was going out to the community, getting bags of food, going to local food banks, dropping them off, dropping them here and there. And so it started growing. A lot of people started getting to know what I was doing, because obviously I was posting it online and showing people that we need to come as a community and pretty much help the community as a business. I mean, one of the things that we did was pretty much we grew and grew and grew. I mean, before I came on this call, I had a supermarket call me and saying, "Hey, I've been hearing about you guys. How can we help you? Blah blah blah." So what we've done pretty much. I mean, coming back to Jamie's point with regards to the 5 points he's mentioned. I mean, one of the things that we've done, we've built our food for Kent project that, I mean, as of yesterday, I mean, we got the results, the stats here. We fed 12,000 people in March, 2,000 more than in February, where we fed about 10,000 people in February, 10,000 that month, So pretty much the idea of what Jamie said, not to take with regards to obviously building your brand, because what a lot of people recognize Kent Housing as, we're a housing provider, but also we're a community-based company. So pretty much the association of our brand, housing and community, just ties in with what people recognize us at. So anytime anyone is looking for housing within the Kent area, they seem to just call Kent Housing. And I think a lot of it has got to do with the brand, the association of kindness in the community, because what we've noticed now is that kindness is a new currency for most businesses now, the more you put into the community, the more you sow into the community, the more you get out of it, and pretty much recognition, and obviously ensuring that we get new traction, new business. So we get new businesses because obviously for what we do in the community as well, and that's kind of us in a nutshell. I think, like I said, Jamie's hit the points in these 5 key areas, and we practice these principles, and pretty much makes a big difference for us as a housing company.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Chuks, and thanks everybody. Reference there to the LinkedIn posts, and there are a lot of Chuks over a long period. So over 2 years, there have been a lot of really inspiring videos. Inspiring because you can just tell the passion. For somebody like me, also exhausting because I just don't know where he gets the energy from. And I know that he gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday to do all of this. That's as well as any other days. So it is, physically, emotionally exhausting, and you're engaged and passionate. So it's great credit to Chuks, Glen, and Jamie, to all of you for doing this. And maybe you can kick me into some kind of action. I'd like to make a comment from Raj, one of the sponsors, but also deeply involved in charity himself. Raj Randhawa of AV Quest. We'll then go back into some of the comments in the chat, and then I'll probably play the halftime sponsor video, and then we'll come back and discuss the charity work. So Raj dropped a line actually to make the point that apart from any new charities, we should also never forget that there are existing charities and organizations. He mentioned the Church of England and the Catholic Church. Raj is also a Sikh, and I think that the SWAT charity is linked to the Sikh religion, but he mentioned like the Church of England, the Catholic Church have been doing a lot of charity work since the 1970s. Funnily enough, some of the Sikh activity goes back some 500 years, but he is involved himself in supplying food to the community. He also mentioned sandwich runs, which I never knew existed, but you go to cafes, you get the sandwiches that haven't been sold and give them to homeless. So I just wanted to kind of throw in that. I would, for Jamie's benefit, I don't know if he's noticed it in the audience there. So Susan is actually from Sierra Leone and has joined us this afternoon. Greetings from Save the Young Girls Foundation Orphanage. So that's fantastic that she's joined us, and great to see you there, Susan. So I'll whiz through some of the other comments, and then we will do the halftime video, and then we'll come back and have a little chat. So I think we had Nina. Nina, please give us the company name as well. So good afternoon, Nina. Veronica from Sheffield giving the full company name there, service department provider for business travellers as well as leisure visitors, relocating to Sheffield City region. Tommy G, I can say, is based in Manchester. Sleep Easy is the company name, and he's got some lovely properties around Manchester, mainly South Manchester, I think. We have Cara again, hi from Move for Hunger. And again, I'll try and get the access link to you, Cara, if you'd like to hop onto the stage. But otherwise, people have the Move for Hunger URL there, and please have a look to see the great work that they do. Bianca's saying that they're part of Silverdor now. So actually, you heard it here first, I guess. I didn't know. So yeah. And the apartment service in the UK has been absorbed into Silverdor. So yeah, thanks for letting us know that one, Bianca. We've got Ray. Good morning from Tippett Richardson in sunny Vancouver. I bet it's not sunny. And Chinello there. So yeah, we're going to we've done some of those comments there. And Chinello just saying thanks about getting in touch. Susan again, and Andrew Patino. Hi everyone from Cargen Relocation Services, Luton and Milton Keynes. And Tommy G, what's the... it's okay. So yeah, so thanks everyone for the input, and please, keep the comments, keep the questions coming as well. Any questions or mention any of the charities in which you're involved as well, and we'd love to hear about it. So we're going to play the sponsor video, and then we'll come back and have a little chat further. So you got 2 minutes there to grab yourself a cup of tea, everybody. And welcome back, everyone. I wish I had one of those mixing desks, actually, like they do on DJs, because it always seems such an abrupt return to the stage. But
I was enjoying the background music, Richard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I had a bit of a dance around there myself. Hang on, have I frozen? No. So yeah, returning to the. Am I freezing here?
Nope, you're good.
Oh, good. Okay. So yeah, returning to the discussion really, and maybe kind of just taking it now as the conversation flows, because we are talking about making a difference, and I know that Glen refers to that quite a lot with your own company, asking how can you help, and you've obviously answered that question yourself, and I like the phrase that came up in a conversation the other day about when one does, others do, and just inspiring others by your own actions. But Glen, if he's
It's okay. I'm here.
Yeah, Glen, I'd like to start with you actually, if I may, because to ask you how can people get involved in your kind of organization?
So essentially, as I explained earlier, there's several fundamentals to what we do, and it's all based around property. What we always say is that the foundation to life is a home, and what we do at Responsive Accommodation is provide a safe place to call home. So how service apartment providers and global mobility providers and anybody who works in the hospitality space can contribute to that is actually by at the moment in the West Midlands, we're actually looking for properties, and invariably we have new requirements across the UK and hopefully in the future across the globe, where there are accommodation requirements for vulnerable individuals like those that might come out of the probation service. So the way to get involved in that is register at responseaccommodation.com, click on register your property, and you're in. And we'll have a conversation with you about what you can offer, how you can contribute, how you some people have a aversion to how could I profit from this, and some people might ask that question. But what we try to do is to make this sustainable. So you register, if you'll get an offer for your property, you'll be offered a certain price, and it either works or it doesn't. And that's really how to get involved. The other way to be involved is we are all property people. The accommodation business ultimately is founded upon property, just like having a home and living a life is founded upon property. So we have property leases available at Response Accommodation, where you can register if you're in the correct areas of anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world, hopefully in the future, whereby you register on our website, you register your property as a property to lease, and then Response Accommodation would would organise the let of that property for you onto the government contracts. So that means what is when you come to us, it's providing people a place called home. It's doing it in a profitable and sustainable manner. And we're currently looking in the northwest of England for properties like that. You might have stock that you want to get rid of. You might have properties that are vacant. You might have new stock that's just arrived that you're not utilising yet in your services. And there are opportunities for that. And we're also looking for that in Yorkshire and Humber as well. So those are three ways you can sort of currently get involved with what we're doing. And get connected via the platform.
Well, Glen, I'd like to say that not only are you giving these ladies a home, you're giving them hope, a hope for a second chance, a hope for their family, a hope to better themselves from a situation that's unfortunate that they're coming out of. So my hat's off to you for what you do.
Oh, thank you, Jamie. And the important thing is, okay, we talk to a lot of people and they're like, okay, why would I want to house offenders? There are so many other people out there who need housing. And you're right. If there is a housing need and an organization comes to us and says, can you help us to find housing? You're starting new lives. You're giving somebody a place to land out of prison. It costs in the UK, it costs £38,000 per year to keep somebody in prison. That's higher than the national average salary. And also the other element to it is actually when you take in the entire cost of running the prison service, running all of the operations around it, building the buildings, making the foundations. I've had an architect who works in the prison, who's built prisons in the UK for some of the large businesses that run prisons in the UK. And the amount of money is absolutely astronomical. So not only are you providing a place to call home, you're having a much wider impact in society. You're having an impact for that individual and an impact overall. It magnifies so many times. And you've got charities like Chuks works with who provide food, and Jamie who works with those organisations too, and those all contribute to that wider thing of give somebody a place called home, and do it in a way that benefits society as a whole.
Fantastic.
Well, I think also, I think it's proven that homeless people out of desperation are more apt to commit crimes and end up back in jail than someone who has a fresh start, has a home, they have an address where they can apply for a job and actually give an address. So I think it's a great thing.
Absolutely spot on, Jamie. Some really absolutely vital points and why we need to keep providing the service that we are providing.
I think one of the things that I mean, most businesses, I mean, if you know, there's a saying going, and I don't know if I don't know if you know about Gary V. I don't know if anyone's heard of Gary V. Yeah, he's pretty much, I mean, there's this promotion of kindness is the new currency, yeah, for businesses now. So really, the more businesses show what they're doing, yeah, the more suction, the more attraction, like what you said, with regards to the millenniums, they're associated with more charitable things now. Yeah. So in a very funny sense, I'll give you an example. I mean, 2 weeks ago, Channel 5 called me. Yeah, it's a station in Jamie in the UK. And they've seen me online and they said, "Hey, Chuks, we want to do a program about what you're doing. And we've seen it's quite interesting. And obviously the food poverty is going crazy in the UK, you know, fuel prices, a lot of people's supermarkets are struggling with the supermarket stuff. Yeah. So in a sense, I mean, they've contacted me. So we're in the process of planning now. Yeah. So pretty much the idea is when we go, the program I think is going to view sometime next month. Yeah. The idea is pretty much showing and telling people and also how businesses are getting involved with helping local communities. How that works for us, pretty much, obviously, in a sense, it gives Kent Housing the publicity required. Yeah, it comes with a bit of publicity. Yeah, the publicity required. It's connected us with another person. I don't know if you know Marcus Rashford. Yeah. Marcus Rashford, he's the guy who is end child food poverty. Yeah. So they've connected us with him as well with regards to showing what we're doing as a business. Yeah. And it's pretty much having a ripple effect. Like I told you before this call came on, I had a supermarket call me with regards to how can we help you. Yeah. And pretty much it's creating some kind of partnership for us where everyone in the town pretty much is saying Kent Housing, sustaining communities, because that's our ethos, quality homes, sustaining communities. Yeah. So sustaining communities for us is we're giving back to the community. As we take out from the community, we're earning a living from the community, we're giving back to it as well. So for us, really, we're seeing a lot of traction coming from, I mean, places we're not even expecting it. You know, like I said, I get calls from various places I'm not even thinking about. Yeah. But the idea, I mean, we had an estate agent from Scotland called me and say, "Hey, Chuks, I saw what you're doing, really keen. Part of the office now, we're using it as a food bank." Yeah. And he's pretty much, I mean, he's growing traction, and you know, and pretty much what he's just showing is that the more businesses get involved with social causes, the more you're opening yourself up to humanity, pretty much, you know, and also in exchange for that, you know, it's helping your business as well. you know. I mean, that's not the sole purpose, I mean, for us, you know, but like I said, it's the effect of it. The more we're doing, the more benefit we're getting in touching many more lives, and the more people we're inspiring and saying, go and do something similar. People calling from Scotland, people calling me from Newcastle and saying, how can we get involved? How can we do the same thing you're doing up there? Yeah. So that's the notion. And we have one common theme that we will keep inspiring many more other businesses to get involved in their local community and pretty much build from that.
I think you're absolutely right, Chuks. I think the more you give, the more you get back. I mean, it's honestly true. See, Richard, you need to get involved.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I was watching. I was looking on LinkedIn and Food for Move for Hunger. They posted after 13 years the number of their staff that has grown, and it's grown to quite a large organization. So it is a movement, and if it just takes one person to start it, and
massive.
Yeah, and you know, I think there's nothing worse than not being able to feed your children or yourself. I know with COVID hit, that really impacted a lot of the social programs. So I think it's a wonderful thing you're doing, Chuks.
No, thanks for that. Yeah, thanks, Shiv. I appreciate that. And like I always said, I mean, the figures, I mean, like I said, I received the figures yesterday, and I posted the figures out, you know, and from when we started, I mean, in February it was 10,000. In March it was 12,000. You can see the increase. And in April, it's probably going to get higher in April. Yeah. So obviously the figures are increasing, but what excites me the most is that when we shared the figures on Facebook to the local community, I mean, there were probably about 100 shares out to sharing it, and people were amazed. People were shocked and thinking, wow, I didn't know there was this many people being fed, you know. So sometimes I think when you bring the reality to people, they think, wow, this is amazing, and they want to do more. They want to help you more. Yeah. And that's why we keep getting the phone calls coming and say, how can we help you? The supermarkets are calling, how can we get involved in this? Yeah. Because when you show people the reality of things, they tend to say, wow, this is serious. We need to act on it. And I always tell like myself and Glen were discussing, and Richard, I think it was yesterday, people follow people. Yeah. When companies see one company doing something, yeah, they want to get involved. Yeah. So it's kind of like a ripple effect, really, you know, and the more we can show as a company, as an organization of housing provider, what we're doing in the community, the more other gets involved, and it just grows and grows. Yeah.
You know,
I'm a really, really big believer in people fulfilling their full potential. And potential starts as a spark. It starts in that moment. I've got that idea. I'm going to do that. And I've watched something happen recently. As I mentioned, I'm a resident director of an estate locally. I volunteer to do that. One of the residents recently, she's from Eastern Europe. I can't remember exactly which country. I think it was Romania. And her father has a distribution company. So not only is it that spark, it's what have I got and what can I do? So you got the spark, you've got what I can do, and then you've got the action, and then you've got the momentum. Spark, action, momentum. So what she did is she started collecting packages in her flat to go, and she put a message out into the local groups. It was quite funny. She hit some people say, oh, why are you doing this here? And people were like, she's being kind, please. And the next thing that happened is somebody else wants to set up their flat. Then there's an estate down the road and somebody setting up their flat. And then she's got a coffee shop, and the coffee shop wants to offer the storage space where anybody can go to drop their stuff that they want to send to you. And she's got lorries now going to Ukraine every single week, dropping things. And now Morrison's have offered to take the goods that people want to drop off. big supermarket chain in the UK, absolutely massive. They even have a department for dealing with things like this. We asked them for food for our ex-offenders because the Ministry of Justice wasn't paying for it, and there was no funding there. And we offered to contribute partly towards that, and for them to provide a contribution too. And it's just that little spark, that action, that make that momentum, and these things can scale to the level that that you talked of, Chuks. It's just incredible. People will follow you.
Yeah.
Could I just jump in there, please? So, first of all, Marcus Rashford, and yeah, he's done a great job in the UK. You know, despite the fact I'm a City fan and he's a United player, we have to. Well, we'll give him. He's a South Manchester lad, so I can relate to that. But so it is great. He started with school meals when the government wanted to stop school meals, and it's gone really from strength to strength there, hasn't it? So all credit to Marcus Rashford. You're saying about businesses, and you know, it helps the brand. Wouldn't it be amazing though? Like if you think of the amount of money that businesses put into straightforward advertising, and instead, if you think of it like, you know, advertising through charity, wow! If there could be some kind of cut there, but obviously there'll be counter arguments and commercial counter arguments, I'm sure. Move for Hunger, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, but the move bit is because it's the relocation industry that's behind that organization, or am I totally wrong about that? Do you know?
Well, I don't think it's only the global mobility relocation industry behind it. You know, they work with they work with apartment complexes, they work with corporations. I think it's a good avenue for them because in the housing industry, people have access to the whole industry. I know that they got in touch with actual apartment complexes to assist them with leftovers that people leave behind when they move out of their apartments, and they donate that food. There's so much wasted food. I'm not sure about the UK, but I know here in the US that it's almost sinful. So, you know, they get together and they come up with creative ideas on how to increase that load. You know, there's moving trucks that actually help to go out to farms and carry this product to locations where Move for Hunger can store it and actually utilize it. You know, potato farmers, dairy farmers. You know, that was kind of really hard during COVID, but they really worked out that supply chain to, you know, there was farmers that were having to dump out their milk because they couldn't get it to market. So they were having these relocation trucks actually move and go to these locations and help them to distribute it. So it's a collective thing.
Okay. I think that's an awesome point, Jamie. Sorry, Richard, just to come in there. I mean, one of the things that I found was that, I mean, I started small, you know, on a smaller scale. Yeah. And I think after two years, I got approached by the Gilliam Street Angels and said, can you come on board as a trustee and support us in what we do? Yeah. And we kind of tagged on with the Gilliam Street Angels. Obviously, they have a team, yeah. And obviously, when I say we fed 12,000 people that month, yeah, it's not Kent Housing on its own. It's a team, yeah. It's a big team, yeah. And I think sometimes when it's easier, sometimes as a business to partner with someone who is doing it, who is probably a charity in the area, because obviously they've got the expertise, they run it. I mean, with that alone, with us partnering with the Gilliam Street Angels, we've managed to get into some places that we would never have gotten into. You know, our name has pretty much grown like we would never have thought it would. Yeah. I mean, they've got a massive warehouse. I mean, I support some schools back in Africa with books and uniforms and clothes. And I mean, they've got a ton massive warehouse. All I just need to say is we need to ship this. I mean, can you help us in Africa? Can you get some of this stuff? And it just goes easy. Yeah. Because it's there already. So partnership is very crucial, for growth. I mean, if us as an organizer, I find it's much easier because they do a lot of the work. Although yes, we come on the side, and I'm a trustee there, but we work together, and I found that the momentum partnering is a much easier option for a business to going forward. Yeah.
Well, the foundation that I assist with, I see them regularly for farmers donating big lots of food. You know, they'll show the pictures where there's just loads of fresh food donated for the goal. So it really does take a village.
Yeah,
it's good point. I mean, one thing that worries me a great deal is the kind of the problem that the Ukraine situation is going to create, not just in Europe, but especially Africa. Really, I think potentially worldwide, because there's a lot of grain coming out of what would have been coming out of Ukraine and Russia. We're kind of running. Towards the 6 o'clock. I don't know whether are we all okay for going a little bit over, or do you have to leave? Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. See how it goes. Glenn, we've got a question in the audience, so I'll post it. But it's one which kind of which you may very well be familiar with. But it helps yourself and it helps other people, I suppose, because it's an obvious kind of resistance, if you like, regarding a concern. The neighbours, you're housing vulnerable people, but ex-offenders, and I think it'd be a useful one, really, to perhaps address. Not too lengthy though, thanks, because then we'll just return to the conversation on charity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Firstly, I wanted to say hi to Ged, who actually reached out and is engaged with us. So hi. But yeah, it's a really good question. What happens is that, yes, occasionally incidents do happen. We never hide it. We're very open about it. And I'm just having a look at the full question as well. Owners and the council, I'm afraid, not conversely. Professional costs. I understand the social challenges from care leavers. Yes. So yeah, people do come out of prison. There are some people out of prison that cause problems. We did some statistics over the pandemic, and 88% of the people who came through our services, the 800 that I mentioned, had no issues whatsoever. So that's quite a stark number, and we were quite surprised too. Actually, we thought it would be worse. There are 12% that have some sort of issue, and that issue might be smoking in the room, a little bit of noise, causing a few problems, maybe asking for cigarettes on the outside the building, this type of thing. This minor disturbances, and then there's you start to get down to the handfuls of people, and then it's the drug taking. Then it's the absolute disturbance. Then it's I've got one this week, and the guy is walking around. He's abusing the neighbours. I think I've only had one of those. The guy has been a bit racist. He's abusing the neighbours. It does happen from time to time. Fortunately, the type of property providers that we work with care about what they're doing, and this guy will help him out and we'll get him to the right place. This wasn't the right place for him. He's less than one fingerful of the people that we work with, but most of the people, a difference is really made to their lives. We have a 24-hour contact center. I've been on the call today with you guys. Nobody has phoned me. This is the phone that would ring if something was going to happen.
Yeah, that's great, Glenn. I think it was a point that was worth kind of addressing for people, for any uncertainty out there. And I think in the context of the industry generally, we can say that there's always going to be trouble from a certain percentage, whether that's the parties that are taking place, or even people simply, fairly wealthy people disrespecting the property sometimes, so it doesn't need to be.
One of the providers said to us, they were a larger provider, the ratios of stolen TVs is actually the same for ex-offenders as it is for the audience.
I like that.
Yeah, I can imagine. And
but we'll give you £200 for a TV if it's stolen. You order one, we'll pay for it, no problem.
I like that.
So in the audience there, Move for Hunger, Kara's simply saying thanks, Jamie, for outlining regarding Move for Hunger, and so that is helpful. I think. I wouldn't like to draw the conversation necessarily to a close, because we've got three very passionate people on the work that you do. Are there any aspects of what you do that you would like to kind of, like to mention, or like to ask any of the other panelists, or make a point to the audience, or any words of encouragement that you'd like? You've certainly given me enough encouragement to get involved in charity work and what have you.
I would just say get off the sidelines and start. I mean, that's kind of when I sent that message to Susan and said, I'm going to try to help you. I don't know if I can. I don't know how much. But it was getting off the sidelines and getting involved. I would say get involved with what you're passionate about, but just get involved.
Mine is collaborate. I hadn't met Chuks before this conversation. Chuks and I haven't yet had a conversation about how we might work together. Let's have that conversation and see what impact we can make. And I'd encourage anybody else, come and talk to Chuks. If you want to do something with food, talk to Chuks. If you're in the UK, talk to Chuks. If you're in the US, talk to Jamie. If you want to deal in housing, if you're in the UK, talk to Chuks. Talk to me. Let's collaborate. Let's make it happen. And Chuks and I, I'm sure we will have a conversation after this.
No, very much so. Very much so. No, it's been actually quite inspiring hearing the panel speak. And like I said, I always learn from various people. And I mean, one of the things, like Jamie, I mean, I wrote down your 5-step plan here. I wrote that on my notepad, to go back to, which is quite interesting. And like I said, Glen, I mean, obviously, hearing about housing, how you've worked with temporary accommodation, with the prison services, I start to think where's the synergy in it? So where we can collaborate somehow, somewhere. So no, it's absolutely awesome. Like I said, meeting you guys, I mean, I feel inspired already, from listening to you guys, and no, thank you so much for
collaboration ran in people's blood. We would have a much better world.
I love that. Collaboration runs in people's blood. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, indeed. Raj there in the audience, making the point that for every operator, every service department operator, that they then know where their local shelters are, and community help groups. So, start local, perhaps.
Know where the help is. Know where the help is. Signposting, they call it. It's brilliant.
Totally. And so, Rich, just a quite of interest. I mean, we do temporary accommodation. Yeah, we are temporary accommodation providers to local authorities that come from London, you name it. Yeah. But one of the things that I always tell all our partners is that even at the competitors, yeah, we don't hide the fact. We tell our competitors, if any of your clients are brought into the Kent town, and you feel that they are vulnerable, they require food, they require white goods, just make contact with us and we will provide that. Yeah. So there's in this playing field, there is no competition. Yeah. It's a level playing field. The key thing for us is that, like we say, no child in our community must go to bed hungry. Yeah, we would regardless of whatever we do, we will make sure that they get food. Yeah, so that's the ethos. And like I said, there is no competition in it. Yeah, it's making sure that we deliver. That's the key thing. So, as you said, it's collaboration. Yeah, collaboration is in the blood, like you said, Glenn. Yeah, we have to make things work together as a team. Yeah,
I'm waiting for Jamie's quote, but because ours are quite aligned, actually. Ours is everybody will have a place to call home, no matter who they are in society.
Mm.
Well, I like to think that we are all one people. We're all here. We're all the same. So we need to help each other.
Mm.
I love that.
Brilliant.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
No. Yeah. So Chinello, they're saying we're passionately involved with the winter night shelter in Milton Keynes and excited to get involved with your work as well, Chuks. Thanks for reminding us that we're here for more than business. Yeah, indeed.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And just a point to add to that, Richard, is that I think businesses, one of the key things that I realize, businesses should show. I mean, if you're involved with shelter, you're doing things for shelter, you're doing things for your food bank, show and tell that. Yeah, because I think when you show and tell that, you inspire other people. Yeah, you inspire, because if you keep this to yourself, you don't inspire anyone. You're just doing it for yourself. Yeah. So the more you tell other people, like you've got us on this show. Yeah. I mean, we've got other people listening to this. I'm hoping this will go and inspire people to go and think, wow, I can do more. I can do this. Yeah. So the more we tell people, the more we speak the news about what we should be doing as a business, and property. Yeah. It goes out to inspire many, many more people. Yeah,
exactly. No, thank you for making that point, Chuks. And I've been inspired from the minute this kind of planning this broadcast started. So yeah, no, that's fantastic. So yeah, I wonder whether
What I've done, I've sent you a link, Richard.
Pardon?
I've sent you a link, Richard, which you can pop out to anybody who wants to connect with me in any way, book a call with me, contact information, register a property. It makes it nice and easy.
What was the
link?
On
WhatsApp, Richard.
On WhatsApp?
That's
on my phone. My phone's the other end of the room, Glen.
Oh, that's all right. No worries.
So what's the link? What's the link?
It's link linktr.ee.
Right,
/
just a minute. Just a minute, and we'll put it in the.
Sorry, guys. I'll try and drop it into the messages.
Honestly, I'm gonna ban WhatsApp. Right.
You're gonna ban WhatsApp? Oh, please don't.
Honestly, right. Give me the link again, please. Give me the link.
It's in the private chat. There you go.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Link tree. Yeah. So.
Great. Well, so yeah, thank you. I guess we need to thank everybody for being here, don't we?
Yes, please. Yeah.
It's really.
So, yeah. Over to you, Glenn. Yeah, for your thanks.
This is something different, isn't it? This is not usually the content that Richard puts out, but I know that there's been a lot of this year has been instigated change in how we do things with heart in society, and I've seen some of the panel conversations that have happened here already, and I'm glad that more of this is happening. Really, it's really, really great. There are things that make me cry. There are things that make me smile in this world, and you guys being here with me today to talk with this wonderful audience, and the audience being here to share with us. That's what really, so that we can make a difference. That's what really matters.
Well, Richard, allowing us to use your platform, you are helping to give back. So thank you very much for having us on.
Wow.
Thank you, James.
No, thanks, guys. I want to say a big thank you, and back to you, Richard. Yeah, back to you, Richard. What I was going to say, Richard, you putting on a show like this, is giving back. Yeah. So
See?
you are giving back. Yeah. You exactly. You've got a medal for this, but
didn't even know it.
but it's been an absolutely awesome, inspiring, and like I said, as Glenn said, it's not the usual thing that is spoken about. Yeah. But but having us on this show, makes us feel that we can reach out more, and it's absolutely awesome. So thank you so much, from all the inspiring words I've heard today. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. So indeed, Chuks, Jamie, and Glenn. Thank you also to the audience, the live audience, and also the audience that watches watches the recording. So yeah, it's been quite a humbling conversation actually, because it brings you back down to earth, doesn't it? When you as to the things that are important in life and what some people don't have. So yeah, so thank you very much, everybody, and we'll play the outro. And panelists, if you have the time, I'll meet you backstage in a while. We don't want to tell the audience this, but we'll have an after party. No, we don't have an after party.
I like that.
Actually, I'll just catch. There are 3 more comments that I do want to. Let's have a look. So,
Hey, Veronica.
I really like Veronica.
Oh, Wendy. Speaking of giving back, Wendy Galati. She's just a phenomenal person. I love Wendy.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. We got then Sush from Pluxer. Glad you could make it, Sush from Pluxer Service Departments in Birmingham. Great. And Jed from the Wirral, thank you. Feels good helping people. Indeed, Jed. And what was mentioned earlier, because Jed is in fact, so he's a foster carer as well. So that's great. Okay, once more, everybody, thank you very much. And
thank you.
We'll play the outro. Okay, then. All right, see you in a bit.
Thank you.